I'm Anya Coopers-McKinnon. Thank you so much for being with us. Hezbollah's deputy leader says the group is ready for an Israeli ground invasion into Lebanon. Naim Qassem made the claim in a video message to supporters, his first since the killing of Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, on Friday. Now, this comes after further Israeli strikes across Lebanon. An apartment building was hit in the heart of the Lebanese capital. That's the first apparent Israeli airstrike inside the city centre since the start of the current conflict. A Palestinian militant group says 3 of its members were killed in the attack. And journalist Stella Mena joins us now from Beirut. Hi, Stella. Thanks so much for your time. Can you tell us what else Hezbollah's deputy leader said in that video message?
Naim Qassem really used several different ways to send a message that Hezbollah is still very strong. He denied the fact that during the attack on Friday that killed former leader Hassan Nasrallah, 20 high commander were killed, like the Israeli army announced. He said only 3 top commander were killed and all the other people were just bodyguards. He also mentioned that Israel was not able to strike any missiles or any weapon depots. And he said that his organization, Hezbollah, will continue its fight against Israel and is also ready for a potential ground invasion. So again, a clear message of we are still strong. Many people here in Lebanon had awaited his speech because they were hoping that Qassem would announce a potential new leader, which he didn't. He only said that the new leader will be announced rather soon than later.
Israeli forces do appear to have struck central Beirut overnight. Can you tell us what the situation is there this morning?
Well, people here in Beirut are really shocked and they are more scared than before. Kola, the area that has been hit during the night by Israel, is really an area in the center of Beirut. It is well known to the people here. It kind of serves as an informal bus stop. Many people know this area because they used to take minivans from this area to other parts of Lebanon. Kola is also right next to the big road that leads to the Beirut airport. So many people who are still trying to leave the country through the airport, they pass by Kola. So it really is in the center of the city, and this is what is worrying people, because at this point, again, it is another example for people that Israeli is not targeting Hezbollah strongholds, but now just also the city center.
And Lebanon's caretaker prime minister has also made some statements, I believe, about the situation in the country. Can you tell us what he has said?
So Najib Mikati's statement comes in a time with ongoing diplomatic talks. At the moment, the French foreign minister is in town to talk about possible ceasefire negotiations. And Mikati basically said in a statement again that the Lebanese state wants an implementation of the UN Resolution 1701, that they want Hezbollah to go behind the Litani River, and that they're also ready to implement the Lebanese army in the south of Lebanon. But we really have to say at this point that this is nothing new. Mikati has said this ever since the current war started in October. He has repeated himself again and again. And the problem is more that there's no plan to implement what he is saying, because again, he's just a caretaker prime minister. There is no government in Lebanon, and the one who really decides whether the war continues or not, that's Hezbollah and not the caretaker prime minister. And as we've said earlier, Qassem just announced today that Hezbollah will continue its fight and will continue to shoot back against Israel. So it is not really relevant what Mikati is saying at the moment.
Journalist in Beirut, Stella Mena. Stella, thank you so much for your insights there. Now, Lebanon's health ministry says more than 1,000 people have been killed and another 6,000 injured in the last 2 weeks as Israel intensifies its attacks. The government believes as many as 1 million people may also have been displaced, with the escalating conflict leaving Lebanon on the verge of a catastrophic humanitarian situation.
The aftermath of Israel's first apparent airstrike on central Beirut since the start of the latest conflict. For many, a clear warning that no place is safe from aerial bombardments. Many families have been sheltering on the streets of Lebanon's major cities, afraid their homes could be hit.
We are in need of many things, but shelter for the children is the most important.
Lebanon's caretaker prime minister says that 1 million people may have already been displaced by the Israel-Hezbollah fighting, in a country that's been struggling economically for years. Some of the displaced people are turning to this Beirut church for food and shelter.
Most of the people are coming with just the clothes they had, and so people are very stressed. People are worried, right? There's a sense we have no idea how long this is going to last for.
The United Nations Refugee Agency says more than 100,000 people have already crossed the border from Lebanon into Syria. During Syria's civil war, more than 500,000 Syrians sought refuge in Lebanon. Now, both former refugees and Lebanese citizens are asking themselves whether Syria is the safer place to be.
We have not seen a war like this in terms of violence and destruction. We didn't see this much destruction in the 2006 airstrikes. Our village wasn't harmed back then.
Others are hoping to get out of Lebanon from Beirut airport on one of the dwindling number of commercial flights. It's feared the airport could soon have to cease its operations altogether.
We're joined now by Anna Fleischer, the director of the Beirut office of Germany's Heinrich Böll Foundation. She is currently in Germany. Welcome to DW, Anna. Now, as we've been hearing, Israel is being blamed for this overnight airstrike inside Beirut. It's in a very busy part of the city for the first time in this conflict. What does that tell you?
Thank you for having me. It tells me first and foremost that the rules of engagement as they have been standing since the 8th of October, since Hezbollah has entered into the regional conflict, do not stand for the population of Lebanon, and there is a widespread fear of what may happen next.
Israel says it is targeting Hezbollah and other militants. Lebanon says that more than 1,000 civilians have been killed in these strikes. Can you give us a sense of the humanitarian situation in the country today?
It was mentioned already in the images that you showed that the caretaker government has mentioned 1 million people internally displaced inside Lebanon, which is an unprecedented situation. The country has gone through numerous crises in the last few years. We have seen the blast in the port of Beirut in 2020. We have seen many different financial and banking crises that people have had to weather in the past few years, but this is truly unprecedented to see the large number of people in public squares that are unsheltered without the proper access to drinking water, to food, to basic necessities is an unprecedented situation. And there is a lot of fear of what may happen next, as I said, because it is truly an uncertain situation for the entire country at this point.
And many refugees are even crossing back into Syria from where they had fled that country's conflict a decade ago. I mean, what kind of desperation must they be facing right now?
It is indeed a very desperate situation. Syrian refugees in Lebanon have been in a very precarious situation for many years now, and they lack also access to some basic services and basic necessities. So the situation has been worsening even without this armed conflict, and there have been a lot of problems for Syrian refugees in securing their their basic needs on a daily basis. So we are really speaking about people here who have no alternative, who have very little means also to save themselves and their families, and they have a lot of problems with, for example, movement inside of the country. So we are really looking at a very dire situation for those that have been displaced by the war in Syria and that are now indeed being displaced again for multiple times, actually, that they have had to flee violence and war.
So this very dire situation, as you describe it, the backdrop for the first public statement by a Hezbollah leader since the death of Hassan Nasrallah. What were your takeaways from his speech, from his message?
Yeah, it was very accurately analyzed by the journalist that you had on Stella Mena just now. I think that his message was a message of defiance from what we heard. He wants to assure people that the group is not defeated and that they can keep going. He again mentioned the support for Gaza, that Hezbollah is in their own logic supplying with their own resistance. I do believe that it's interesting that he did not mention a clear succession or indeed plans for the funeral that many people in Lebanon are wondering about, when and where the former leader Hassan Nasrallah will be buried. So I think it was a general message of defiance to his supporters and the larger Lebanese public, and also trying to reassure those that are worried about the future of this group that they indeed will keep operating and keep their resistance alive.
Anna Fleischer is the director of the Beirut office of Germany's Heinrich Böll Foundation. Anna, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.